All right, buckle up because today we're prepping you for a vessel engine tester interview.
Oh, yeah.
We're not just talking about fixing cars here. We're talking about the engines that power giant ships,
Mm-hmm.
futuristic electric motors,
Right.
even nuclear reactors.
It's exciting stuff.
I know. If you're intrigued even a little bit, stick with us.
Yeah, we'll help you nail that interview. We're diving deep into some awesome guides today. RoleCatcher's Vessel Engine Tester Career and Interview Guides. They're packed with insights.
Let's start with the basics. The career guide explains what a vessel engine tester does. Why are these testers so important?
Well, think about it. A massive cargo ship stranded because its engine failed. It's a logistical nightmare. Huge financial implications, too. Vessel engine testers are the ones that prevent that. They make sure those powerful engines work perfectly and that they meet all the safety standards.
So it's more than just tinkering in a garage.
Oh, yeah. Think more like specialized labs, testing facilities, all equipped with high-tech diagnostic tools and technology.
Less grease monkey and more high-tech detective.
Right.
The career guy also mentioned some downsides, though,
It's
right?
true. It's important to see the whole picture. The field has great job stability. You get to work with all kinds of engines, but there can be exposure to hazardous materials, and the work can be physically demanding.
Good point. Knowing the pros and cons helps you make the right decision. Now for the interview itself. RoleCatcher's interview guide has some great sample questions.
Yeah, let's break them down.
That's good.
Let's start with a common one. Describe your experience with vessel engines. If you have direct experience, that's great. Talk about the specific engines you've worked on, your role, any challenges you overcame, and try to quantify your accomplishments. Did you improve efficiency? Reduce downtime? Those are the details that make an impression.
That makes sense. But what if you don't have experience with vessel engines specifically?
No problem. Transferable skills are key. Have you worked on other complex machinery, automotive engines, generators, even aircraft systems? Highlight those experiences and focus on how they relate to vessel engines.
Okay, so you've researched the specific engines used in the maritime industry. Demonstrate genuine interest, and they'll see your potential.
That's a great tip. Passion and preparation can go a long way. Next question. How do you approach troubleshooting engine problems? They're looking for more than just, I Google the error code, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Here you're showcasing your systematic approach, your analytical thinking. Imagine you're a detective at a crime scene. You wouldn't jump to conclusions, would you?
No.
You'd gather evidence, analyze the clues, and come up with a logical hypothesis. Troubleshooting engines is similar. First, gather information, symptoms, error codes, operational history. Then use diagnostic tools and tests to find the root cause. Document everything and communicate clearly with your team.
I'm seeing a pattern. It's not just about knowing how engines work. It's about being able to solve problems in a structured way.
Yeah.
Exactly. That applies to a lot of this role. Like if they ask, how do you prioritize tasks when testing multiple engines? Again, a systematic approach is important. Explain how you figure out which tasks are urgent. Is there a safety risk? A deadline? Potential for things to really go wrong? Then outline your communication strategies. How do you keep your team in the loop? How do you make sure everyone's working towards the same goal?
And that's where time management comes in.
Absolutely. Mention any tools or techniques you use, project management software, whiteboard with priority lists. Whatever it is, showing you're organized will impress them.
Excellent points. Now let's talk about safety. The interview guide has this question. How do you ensure that engines meet safety standards? This seems like a really important area.
Yeah, you're right. This question is to see if you understand industry regulations. And if you're committed to keeping things safe, this is where you showcase your knowledge of testing procedures and protocols. Mention any certifications you have, or training and safety practices. And most importantly, make it clear that safety is your top priority.
So it's not just about making the engine run. It's about making sure it runs safely.
Exactly.
Okay, time for a classic interview question. Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a particularly challenging engine problem?
I like this one. This is your chance to shine. Pick a situation that shows off your problem-solving skills, your technical knowledge, and your resilience. Don't just describe the problem, walk them through your thought process. What steps did you take? What challenges did you face? How did you overcome them?
It's like a story
Yes.
for the beginning, middle, and end. Don't forget to highlight the positive outcome, how your solution fixed the problem, and what you learned.
Absolutely. Before we move on, let's talk about RoleCatcher. It can really help you prepare for this kind of question.
Oh, how so?
Well, their AI is like a virtual coach. It analyzes everything you say and do.
Yeah.
You can put your story into their system and get instant feedback on your language, structure, and content. They even analyze your delivery if you record a video.
Wow.
It's like a personalized interview prep session.
That's incredible.
And you can practice as much as you need until you feel confident and ready.
Okay, back to the questions. Next up is, how do you stay up to date with changes in engine technology? This feels like a chance to show your passion.
It is. Engine technology is always evolving, so showing you're committed to learning is essential. Talk about professional organizations you're a part of, like SNAME, the Society of Naval Architects and Marine Engineers, or ASME, the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. Mention conferences you attend, publications you read, online forums you participate in.
So never stop learning.
Right. The more you show you're eager to learn and adapt, the better candidate you'll be.
Great advice.
Hmm?
Now let's talk about accuracy and reliability. The question is, how do you ensure that your testing results are accurate and reliable? Seems like a no-brainer, but how do you explain it well?
You want to show that you're meticulous, that you pay attention to detail. Explain your process for checking results. Do you double-check data? Calibrate equipment regularly. Do repeat tests. Mention tools or software you use for quality control. And highlight your communication skills. How do you document results clearly and communicate them effectively?
So it's not just about getting the right answers. It's about making sure they're always accurate and communicated well.
Exactly.
All right, on to a question that's relevant for a lot of jobs. How do you manage multiple projects simultaneously? I imagine things can get pretty hectic.
Oh, yeah. That's why you need to show you're organized and that you can prioritize. Describe your methods for breaking down big projects, setting deadlines, tracking progress. Do you use a specific project management method? Are you a to-do list master? Explain it clearly and show how it helps you stay on top of things.
It's all about being organized, proactive, and communicative.
You got it.
Okay, last question for this part. How do you ensure that your work meets project requirements and deadlines? This seems obvious, but how do you impress the interviewers?
Start by making sure they know you understand deadlines and project scopes. Then talk about your communication. How do you keep everyone informed about progress and potential problems? Do you use progress reports, regular meetings, project management software? Highlight your commitment to delivering quality work on time and within budget.
That's a great overview of those initial questions. Any final thoughts before we wrap up part 1?
Remember, preparation is key. The more you practice, the more confident you'll be. And don't forget about RoleCatcher's AI tools. They can help you fine-tune your answers and give you an edge.
Excellent advice. We'll be back in part 2. We'll dive deeper into scenario-based questions and the ones that are a bit more personal. Stay tuned. Welcome back.
Hey!
We're going deeper into those vessel engine tester interview questions. This time it's all about scenarios, the ones that really test your problem-solving skills.
Right. They want to see more than just knowledge. They want to see how you think on your feet, how you handle real-world challenges.
Okay, let's jump in. The interview guide mentions a question like this. How would you explain a complex engine problem to a client with no technical background? This seems like it's about communication as much as technical expertise.
Absolutely. Imagine you found a problem with a fuel injection system, but you're explaining it to the ship's owner, someone who knows more about money than engines.
Right. You can't use all that technical jargon.
Exactly. This is when you use analogies, real-world examples. Think about how you can connect complex ideas to everyday things, like comparing the fuel injection system to the human circulatory system, explaining how fuel, like blood, needs to flow for the engine to work.
That's a great analogy.
And remember, patience and empathy are key. The client might be frustrated or confused, so reassure them, let them know you understand, and that you're there to find a solution.
Good advice. Now let's look at a question about creative problem solving. Describe a time you had to think outside the box to solve an engine issue. This is where those aha moments come in.
Absolutely. They want to see you be resourceful. To go beyond the usual procedures. Pick an example where you had to be creative, maybe a problem that stumped the diagnostics, or a repair you had to make with limited resources.
Okay, let's say you're testing an engine. It keeps losing power, but all the standard checks show nothing wrong.
That's when the real detective work begins. You start looking at things that might not be so obvious. Could vibrations be messing with a sensor? Is the wiring harness damaged? What about the environment? Temperature, humidity, even electromagnetic interference.
So looking beyond the usual suspects.
Exactly. And if your creative solution actually worked, that's a story they'll remember.
Okay, one more scenario. What if they ask you this? How do you stay calm under pressure, especially with a critical engine failure? Those situations must be intense.
Oh, they can be. An engine failure can have serious consequences, so staying calm and focused is crucial. When you answer this, show that you have both technical expertise and emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Acknowledge that these situations are stressful, but emphasize that you can stay composed, that you can think clearly under pressure. Explain your approach, how you prioritize tasks, communicate with your team, follow procedures. If you have any personal stress management techniques, like deep breathing or visualization, mention those too.
So having a plan and staying focused.
Exactly. You want to seem like someone they can trust, someone who can make good decisions even when things are crazy.
That makes sense. Before we go on, let's talk about RoleCatcher's AI again. How can it help with these scenario-based questions?
It's really helpful for practicing these kinds of responses. You can put in specific questions and get feedback on your answers. They look at your language, structure, and content. They suggest improvements and show you where to be more concise or impactful.
Like a personal interview coach.
Right. They even have a video practice feature. You record yourself answering the question and get feedback on your delivery, body language, and presentation.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, let's move on to some more personal questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, bring it on.
First up, what are your greatest strengths as a vessel engine tester? This one seems simple, but how do you make your answer stand out?
Tailor your strengths to the job. Don't just say generic things like hardworking or team player. Choose strengths that are relevant to the job description and back them up with real examples.
So if they want someone with attention to detail, you could mention your careful approach to data analysis and how it helps you find a problem others missed.
Exactly. Make it real and relevant. And don't be afraid to show off what makes you unique. Maybe you're great at explaining technical stuff to clients, or really good at working with different kinds of people.
Good advice. Now, the dreaded weakness question. What are your weaknesses? Everyone hates this one.
It is tricky, but it's a chance to show self-awareness and a desire to grow. Choose a weakness that's real, but not something that'll stop you from doing the job. And most importantly, explain how you're trying to improve.
So instead of saying, I'm a perfectionist,
Yeah, that's too cliche.
what could you say?
You could say, I sometimes get so focused on the technical details that I lose sight of the bigger picture. To fix this, I've been practicing time management techniques and prioritizing tasks better.
I like that.
It's honest and specific, and it shows you're taking steps to improve.
Okay, last question for this part. Why are you interested in this particular role? What are they really asking here?
They want to see real enthusiasm and that your interests match the job. This is your chance to show off your passion for engines, connect your skills and experience to the job's responsibilities, and explain why this role is a step forward for you.
So if you love electric propulsion systems, and this job involves testing those systems, that's something to highlight.
Absolutely. Research the company, their projects, their culture, and tailor your answer to show why you're a good fit. And don't forget to ask questions yourself. It shows you're engaged and really interested.
Asking questions, that's a great segue. What are some good questions to ask the interviewer?
Asking thoughtful questions is important. It helps you get information and shows that you're curious and engaged. You could ask about the company culture, what values they have, what the team is like, how they encourage collaboration and innovation. You could ask about professional development opportunities, training programs, mentorship, career advancement paths. Ask about specific projects or technologies. And don't hesitate to ask about the interviewer's experience. What do they like about working there? What challenges have they faced? What advice would they give?
Those are great suggestions. It shows you're thinking long term.
Exactly. As we finish this part, I want to emphasize that preparation is key. Practice your answers, use RoleCatcher's AI tools, and be confident.
Great advice. We'll be back for the final part where we'll cover those last-minute tips to help you nail the interview. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the final part of our Vessel Engine Tester Interview Deep Dive. We've covered the tough technical questions, explored problem-solving scenarios, and even talked about your strengths and weaknesses. Now it's time for that final push, the things that can really make a difference.
Right. First impressions, confidence, and those last-minute tips.
Let's start with those pre-interview jitters. Even when you're prepared, you can still get nervous.
Oh, yeah.
Any advice on staying calm under pressure?
It's totally normal to be nervous. It means you care. The key is to use that energy in a positive way. Remember, the interview is a conversation. It's a chance to show your passion and what you know. Think of it as a way to connect with the interviewers and learn more about the role and the company.
That's a good way to look at it. Any practical tips for calming those nerves?
Preparation is key. When you know your stuff, you feel more confident. Review your notes, practice your answers, maybe even do a mock interview with a friend or family member.
Great idea. What about the day of the interview? Any pre-game rituals?
Definitely. Wear something that makes you feel confident and comfortable, but also professional. First impressions are important. Arrive early so you're not stressed. And take a few moments to relax before you go in. Deep breaths can help a lot.
Deep breaths. Got it. Now, about those first impressions. What should our listener keep in mind when they meet the interviewer?
Enthusiasm and a genuine smile go a long way. Make eye contact. Offer a firm handshake. And pay attention during the conversation. These little things show you're professional and engaged.
Body language is important.
It is. Don't forget about active listening either. Engage with the interviewer. Ask questions to clarify things. Show that you're really interested, it shows respect, and that you're willing to learn.
It's about being present.
Exactly. Throughout the interview, be clear and concise in your answers. Use specific examples. Highlight what you've achieved. Don't be afraid to show your personality. Let your passion for engines shine through.
That balance of professional and authentic is what makes an impact. We've talked a lot about answering questions, but what about asking them? What are some good questions to ask?
Asking questions is important. It shows you're curious and engaged, and it helps you learn more about the role and the company.
Okay, what are some examples?
You could ask about the company culture, their values, what the team is like, how they support collaboration and innovation. You could ask about opportunities for professional development, training programs, mentorships, career paths. Ask about specific projects or technologies. And don't be afraid to ask about the interviewer's experience. What do they enjoy about working there? What challenges have they faced? What advice would they give to someone new?
Those are great suggestions. It shows you're thinking about the bigger picture.
Exactly. As the interview ends, thank them for their time and say again that you're interested in the position.
What about following up? Should you always send a thank you note?
A thank you note can make a big difference. It reinforces that positive impression and keeps you top of mind. It's a chance to remind them of your skills, express your enthusiasm, and even add anything you missed during the interview.
It's a small thing that can have a big impact.
Exactly.
Any final words of wisdom for our listener?
Believe in yourself. You've worked hard to prepare, you've learned a lot, and you're passionate about this field. Every interview is a learning experience. It gets you closer to your dream job. Go in there, be confident, and show them what you know.
That's great advice. And don't forget, RoleCatcher is there to help you every step of the way, from your CV to practicing your interview answers. So go out there and knock them dead. Let us know how it goes.
Good luck.
And that wraps up our deep dive into the world of vessel engine testing. We hope this episode has given you the knowledge and confidence to ace that interview and start an exciting career. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.